So much is happening right now, right? And we still can't get completely figured out on all of these loans and COVID-19 relief and everything like that. So we're going to go over some updates that I have for you guys. Some of them is recent as just today that I was doing some research on, and my friend Jamie also was helping me with finding out. So we'll talk about that. You guys, today was at 2. Did I screw up, Squash? I swear Wednesday was at 2:30 and today was 2. Let's look. Because I can sit here and talk for a half hour before we start an actual Q&A. I can come back at 2:30. I can stay here all afternoon. Not really. I got stuff to do. But an hour, I can be with y'all for an hour. Let's look. Let's look at the events. No, today I had a whole hour scheduled for today though, from 2 to 3. So if you can't make it till 2:30, you can jump in halfway. Otherwise, you can join me now. All right. So as y'all jump in, as you come on over, go ahead and whatever questions you guys have, go ahead and stick them in the comments. It is a Q&A session. I have a few that I've gotten through the group over the last few days, so we'll chat about those. And like I said, there's some updates. And let's see. No, Squash, I float. It depends on what the rest of my day looks like. 2:30 is my favorite time to go, but I decided today I wanted an hour just in case I had a lot of questions. That's why we went at 2. Plus, you know, I schedule things and then I move them around. So at one point it very well could have been 2:30. Who knows? Okay, so let's start with a few updates. All right, so I do want to find, I have a link that I want to stick in here. So we're going to start with, wherever I find it. There it is. I like when I open everything, so I'm ready for you guys, and then I accidentally close everything. Travis, you can't be here. I get nervous when you're here. Say goodbye, and then I don't know if you really leave, but pretend like you leave. Okay. So we've talked about the stimulus payment, right? This has nothing to do with business owner, not business owner. This is all my tax people, or all my tax payers, all right? And we've talked about how these stimulus payments are going to be based off your most recently filed tax return, right? We've talked about if you filed your 19, it'll be based off 19. If not, it'll be based off 18. If you're a non-filer, for reasons not because you just haven't filed, but because you don't have to. Maybe you don't make enough money. Maybe you, for whatever reason, you aren't required to file. Okay, the IRS has created a link, and I'll put it in the comments. That's one of the things I closed, and now I can't find it again. So the non-filers will go in and fill out some information in order to get into the system, into the queue to get that stimulus payment. All right, this is not, again, you guys, my understanding, and I haven't gone through the whole process yet, is that, again, this is for people who are non-filers because they're not required to file. All right, if you haven't filed your 18 or 19 tax return just because you haven't gotten around to it, this does not apply to you. Okay, this applies to those of you that don't make enough money and aren't required to file a return. So they still want you to be able to get your payments. So that is what it's for. All right. And that is open now. I'm trying to find, that's what I'm trying to do, is find your link, because again, had it open, just misplaced it. Here we go. Okay. Let me stick this in the comments for you. So you'll see there's non-filers and there's filers get your payments. All right, we'll talk about that one in a minute because it's not open yet. But the non-filers enter your payment amount, okay? Again, this is for those of you that didn't file because your income wasn't high enough to need to file, or you weren't required to file for some other reasons. Weren't required. All right. The caveat to that, you guys, and if you happen to open that link and you look down, one of the things that they changed for you guys, or for taxpayers, is if you didn't file because you're on Social Security, they're not going to make you file anything. So if you already received Social Security retirement benefits or disability insurance benefits from Social Security, then they're going to use your Social Security figures from the Social Security Administration. You don't need to file anything. All right. And then if you're on that link and you see the other side of this, it says filers get your payment. And this is not open yet. This will open in mid-April. Okay. And for there, you can check your payment status to see where your stimulus payment is. You're going to be able to confirm your payment type. And this has been a big concern for people, right? Because they're like, I've changed banks. I don't remember if I had bank information on file with the IRS, or I never put bank information, but I could. All of these things, they've created a portal or are creating a portal to address all this. All right, so it says mid-April. It's the 10th. To me, that's mid-April. So I will keep checking back here for you guys. And when it's live, I'll post it in this group for y'all, and probably on my business page as well. So that is all the updates I have for the stimulus payment. All right. They are still saying the next couple weeks, right? They're still saying within the next couple weeks you should be seeing these payments. I haven't seen anybody get one yet. If you have, let me know. Let me know in the comments that you started receiving your payments. My guess is I don't think they've started releasing them yet. So I don't think anyone's received one yet. But if you have, let me know. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about for you small business owners is the EIDL loan. All right, this is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan that we talked about probably 2 or 3 weeks ago for the first time. All right, and this is a loan program that the SBA division, the SBA has had. It's in place all the time. All right, you guys, this is not new just for COVID-19. This is a loan program meant to assist businesses when there's some sort of natural disaster, usually, right? Hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, stuff like that. They expanded it last month to include COVID-19, and they declared all of the United States a disaster area. All right. So when they originally expanded it to cover COVID-19, we assumed that all of the other characteristics of the EIDL would stay the same. Right? We thought it was supposed to be up to a $2 million loan for a working capital, right? It was supposed to, then they added, with the COVID-19, they added this $10,000 advance that you were supposed to get within 3 days of applying. And if you've been following me for the last week or so, we know that that has been taken back. We now know that that advance, first of all, is not going to come within 3 days. Right? I don't know about you guys, but I applied for this last Monday and haven't heard a darn thing. Okay, so the 3-day piece is gone. And they changed it to up to $10,000, right? And we're like, wait, what does that mean? Well, now they've defined that. What it is now is $1,000 per employee up to $10,000. So up to 10 employees. After that, you max out. All right, so all things that have changed, and at this point, because they haven't even started processing these loans that came in when they opened this streamlined. They called it a streamlined application. They made it a lot shorter. It took about 15 minutes to apply for. No one that I'm aware of that has applied since on that streamlined application, which opened up last weekend, so like the first day or two of April, has actually received any further guidance. And this comes from, I am in a group, Jamie Troll's group, that has like 10,000 people, and nobody there has heard anything either. So out of 10,000 small business owners, we're at a stalemate with this EIDL. All right, there are people who applied for it back like at the end of February, beginning of March, before they streamlined it and included the advance and everything, and those people might have started collecting, or the loan process, but I don't know. In terms of since the streamlined application with the advance option opened, there's been no movement on this loan. All right, so the consensus we've kind of come to, when I say we, I mean this group of CPAs that I am a part of, and we're working diligently together to make sure we are giving you guys the best information, the most accurate and updated information on all of this, holding each other accountable and making sure we're interpreting everything correctly. So we have decided that people can still apply for that, but it might not be at the best interest. The other thing that just came out, and I got to find where this actual guidance, like I've read it in a few different places, but I haven't traced it back to the government itself. But this $2 million is no longer $2 million under the COVID-19 portion. It is now limited at $15,000 per business. I don't know about you, but 15 grand definitely doesn't go as far as, 2 million or anywhere in between. So for some smaller micro businesses, this might still be a good option. But for those of us where 15 grand pays for a fraction of what our monthly expenses are, we'll have to figure out how to proceed with this one. All right. But that moves me into the PPP loan. All right. This is the loan that we've been talking most about the last week or so. And this is the one that's being pushed right now. This is the one that's really being, and I think because the EIDL, oh no. Oh, okay. Sorry. I read that wrong, Karen. At least I'm in good company with the group of not hearing anything yet. Okay. I read that wrong. Okay, good. Yes. No. EIDL, nobody is there. So the PPP loan, all right, the Paycheck Protection Program. I just freaked myself out when I read your comment. Sorry, Karen. So that one has started moving, you guys. And what I was saying before I gasped unnecessarily was that the PPP loan is thrown out by, or navigated? I can't think of the right word, but it's distributed, there we go, by banks, by individual banks. All right. Whereas the EIDL is done by the SBA. So you can understand why that one's slower moving. There's one government entity trying to deal with all those EIDL applications. Whereas with the PPP, we're going bank by bank. Okay. One thing we're finding a lot of some issues with is that people are having a hard time finding a bank that will work with them. All right. And we've been talking about this for a week or so. I have a list that I have a list. Jamie has a list. Jamie Troll, talk about her all the time, right? That I will ask to share with you guys that has a list of banks that you guys can reach out to. If your bank isn't doing these loans, we've talked about all the reasons why people are having a hard time getting a bank to work with them. All right, so if you're still on that step, if you're still having a hard time finding a bank, I will put that resource out there for you guys. So that's step one, is finding a bank. All right, don't assume your bank is going to handle this. All right, contact them, ask them, because some banks are not working with, or some banks have cut off funding. Some banks are only working with certain loans above a certain threshold. Some banks are only working with current clients, current lending clients. There's so many different pieces in place. So I'm suggesting to all my clients that they reach out to the bank they bank with now and see if they will work with you in your circumstances. And if not, I'll get a list of banks that you can work for or work with or look into and see if they'll work with you. All right. So that's step one, is finding a bank that you can work with. Once you find a bank, or you have a bank, you find your bank is working with you, then you start the process. And this, you guys, seems to be going relatively fast depending on the bank you're going with. I'll tell you my experience. I applied for, I started the process last Thursday. I got an email from my bank saying the PPP is open, please apply. I applied last Thursday. On Friday, I got an email saying, oh wait, we need more information, so please complete this additional information. I did that. That part was all really easy. And then fast forward to sometime this week, Tuesday, or I think it was Tuesday, I got a request for additional documents. All right. So they wanted payroll reports, W-3s, just support, right? Because this PPP loan is all based on actual figures. It's not an arbitrary number. It's based on 2.5 months worth of payroll from your 2018 payroll reports. All right, so they need to make sure that you're calculating that right. They need to know where these numbers are coming from. So I submitted all that. And then late last night, I got the loan documents to e-sign. I signed them today, sometime this morning, 9 or 10 o'clock. And by 2:45, I had the money in my account. Caveat to that, you guys, I work with a mid-sized bank. All right. I'm not a US Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America client on my business. I'll tell you, I work with MidFirst Bank. They worked with me because I already have my SBA loan through them. So they were working with current clients first, but just if MidFirst is an option for you guys, they were really fast and they made this process super smooth. So let's see, Karen says, I just filed for the PPP last night. Fantastic. Keep an eye on your email because they're going to, depending on what documentation you already submitted, they might want more. Squash says, should I also apply for the PPP loan if I am my only employee? Yes. So that opened up today. Today is April 10th. Today was the day that the PPP loan was supposed to open up to, we call you guys sole proprietors, right? Well, I guess I shouldn't assume that, Squash. You could be an S Corp and you are paying yourself through W-2 wages as your own employee. If that's the case, you can already apply. If you mean your only employee as in you file your tax return on a Schedule C, so that your income is essentially just your net profit when all is said and done, then that's supposed to open up today. There are so many questions that I have in terms of how they're going to calculate this for you guys, how they're going to figure out the forgivable portion, all the things. But I'm working diligently with Kelly and Jamie to make sure we have the most up-to-date information for you guys from that perspective. Because I can tell you the way they're calculating, if you don't have W-2 employees or you yourself aren't a W-2 employee of your business, which you're not if you're not an S Corp. If you're an S Corp or a C Corp, right, you have to pay yourself for working in the business through a W-2. That's what I am. I'm an S Corporation. So calculating my PPP was really easy because my wages are included with my employees and we had one lump sum that we did this calculation off of. Okay, then there's the other extreme where you're a sole prop with no employees and it's just you, right? So that means your income, your payroll amount is going to be calculated off your net income. All right, so let's say you take all, you have all your income, you subtract all your expenses from, I'm guessing they're going to use 19 numbers. That's what they used for the other part of the payroll for those of us with employees. And you have your net income. So let's say your net income in 2019 was 100,000 because that's nice. Let's say 120,000. Okay. So that means 1 month of income is 12 grand. You times that by 2.5, right? And that's 30 grand. So they're going to approve you or calculate your loan amount at 30 grand. It's just, easy math because, I like easy math. So that, but the problem, the gray area, one of many gray areas we're finding is for those of you that are a sole prop, right? So your pay to yourself comes through net, your net profits, you take draws, right? But you also have employees, right? So you can do the employee calculation for your employees, right? Like using their W-2s, and that's easy. But how do they then add in your portion as the owner? That part, still unclear. Hopefully by this weekend, me and Jamie and Kelly can mastermind and maybe piece something together and hear some stuff. But right now, based on the guidance we have, that part's unclear. Another big piece that we are working on for you guys is calculating this forgivable part. All right, so with this PPP loan, it is a loan, which is deferred. I believe it's deferred 6 months, and then it's a 2-year loan at 1%. All right, except for any portion that's forgiven. And if you play your cards right and you do this right, you potentially could have it all forgiven. All right, and we've talked about this a little bit, but in order to make it forgiven, there are steps, there are rules you have to you have to qualify. You have to make sure you're spending the money the way they're telling you to spend the money. You have to do it in a certain time frame, all the things. And I can go into that in detail if we want, but I want to make sure I'm answering the questions you guys have for today. But I think what what we're going to end up doing, my concern, you guys, is that each bank is going to calculate this different. That's a big concern we have. My best guess is that it's going to come down to the business owner's documentation. All right, if you document well and you are able to trace your money that you received from the PPP and substantiate where you spent it and show that you did spend it on qualifying expenses, that'll be good enough. At this point, we don't know. We don't know. So that's hard, right? Because some people are like, well, I don't want to take the money if I'm going to have to pay it back, right? They only want it if it's forgivable. But at this point, calculating if it's going to be forgivable is tough. And that's going to be a business by business decision, right? But for many businesses, it's a matter of cash flow, right? We need cash now. We need cash in our business at this very moment. And this is going to be your fastest way, you guys. The PPP loan is going to be your fastest way to get cash into your business in terms of from all the government assistance that is available. All right. I lost my train of thought, but of course I did. Water. That's how you buy yourself time when you can't remember what you were going to say. Fastest way for cash. Oh, okay. So, and you guys, even if you can only get a portion of it forgiven, right? If cash flow is your number one concern right now, sure, you don't want to get into a boat ton of debt, like nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to get into a crap ton of debt and have to bail out yourself from the debt you created when you were bailing yourself out now. But you have to get through this point, right? You have to get through this part. And if you don't take the money and you go out of business, then that's not the answer either. All right. So, and this, you guys, this is where I'm going to be able to help you or somebody, but this is where not all accountants are going to be equal. Not all bookkeepers are going to be equal. All right. But a bookkeeper, an accountant, somebody on your side is going to be able to help you make sure that you're spending the money where you need to, can help you if you're like, oh my gosh, I have this money, but I need it here. But the forgivable part says I need to put it here. Well, when you have a tax planning mindset, which I do, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but tax planning is my jam. All right. And the reason tax planning is my jam is because it's problem solving, right? I get to look at each client's individual tax picture and look at them and be like, okay, how can we minimize your taxes? How can we minimize taxes by putting money into your retirement, by saving money for you, by doing this? And it's a puzzle. All right. Well, this is going to be a puzzle. All right. Trying to maximize the amount of forgivable portion. Trying to maximize the forgivable portion of this loan is a puzzle. All right. So I got you. All right. If you need help with this, this is what I'm here for. All right. Let me check questions and I'll come back. Karen says, so for my sole prop friends, today is the day they can apply for the PPP. Is that correct? It's supposed to be. I haven't heard anyone saying, stop, we're not ready, but I haven't heard, the trumpets blaring saying sole props come to me. Right. Karen says, I know you have already answered this a million times, but why not one more for for those of us in the back? No, well, I don't remember. So are you talking about your question, or were you talking about where I was like, I don't want to go into detail about how to explain this? Tell me what you want to hear more about, Karen, and I'll explain it. I don't want to call I'm a self-proclaimed expert at this point. It's funny, I was watching my friend Jamie's live and she's like, people are calling me an expert and that feels weird to me because, and I get it, because this is something so new. It's like, how do you become an expert in something that's, 3 weeks old? But when you sleep, breathe, eat, drink, consume, that's all you're consuming is this SBA stuff and this COVID-19 stuff, you become an expert. When her and I were joking, and Kelly too, I was like, when you get notices from, the AICPA, which is the American Institute of CPAs, when you get notices from, like CPA sites and Colorado CPA member and all these things, and they're like, hey, check out this new information. And you're like, yeah, I already knew that. Like, not new. Like, what are you talking about? Like, makes you like, I think I got this. But the problem comes, a big problem comes when people start turning to you because you're the expert, but the answers aren't there, right? And for a lot of this stuff, the answers just aren't there yet. And we are doing our best to interpret it and hopefully figure out where we think they're going with this. But, we're not always right, but we're doing the best we can. So yes, okay, so I don't have any more questions right now, so I'll keep on keeping on. Sorry, not sick. Just got something in my throat. Karen, I love that you're here. Start asking me your questions. I know you have them, Karen. I will go over, you guys, since more and more people are getting their hands on, are finding lenders to work with this PPP loan for you guys. I will give you an idea of how this is calculated and go into that in a little more depth. I know we've done this before. We have if you want really, really in depth, go back to past trainings, check those out. But how it works in general, big picture, is that you can get a loan for up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll. All right, so what they're going to do is they're going to look at your 2019 payroll. They're going to look at your total. And when they say payroll, you guys, they mean gross wages. They include vacation pay, sick pay, all the things, right? So all of that. They will include your employer contribution to retirement. They will include health insurance paid by the employer, and they will include state and local taxes. So you guys like state unemployment, SUTA. If you have local taxes, you have to pay. And there's a spreadsheet that most banks are using their own. They're sending a spreadsheet to their clients, at least what I've seen, saying fill this out and make sure this number matches the amount you're asking for. I have a spreadsheet that I took a bank spreadsheet and I just changed it a little bit because there were a few things I didn't like that I can place out there if you guys need it, if that's something you guys need and can help you. Because I've also noticing, so FYI, I'm filling out PPP loan documents for clients. If you want me to, guys, I can do this for you guys, by the way. And I just need access to your bank, or not your bank. I need access to your payroll report. So either you need to grant me help read-only access, or you need to send me all your payroll reports. But I'm completing these for my clients. I'd be happy to complete them for anyone else. And it's actually, you guys, it's no money out of your guys' pocket. Because what happens, and this is how it works, is the lenders who end up lending you guys the money get 5% from the government. So if the government gives you $10,000, right? So they give you a loan for $10,000. The bank gets 500, right? They get a 5%. No, that's 1%. Math is hard. That's why people leave. Like, Bree, can't trust you. You don't do math right. Let me go back. 10,000. Was I right? 10,000. I was right. 5% is 500. No. What did I say? 10,000. Now I forgot what number I used. Did I say 10,000? So you get a $10,000 loan. Yep. $10,000 loan. So 10% would be I was right, $500. So the bank gets $500. They get a 5% payment. That doesn't come from you, the borrower. It comes when the government gives the bank your money. They also give them this payment. And then the bank is the lender is required to give 1%. They got 5%. They're required to give 1% to anyone. An agent is what they call them, who helped the taxpayer fill out their paperwork, which is where I was going with this. So the thing, where I was going with this is if you need help filling out your PPP paperwork, reach out to me. As long as I have the capacity and my workload to help you, I can do that for you guys. And it's no money out of your pockets because it comes from the government. That's what I should have just said. Yeah, easy. So PPP loan, EIDL is kind of a meh. We talked about the stimulus. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Those are really the only updates that have come through. And we're still waiting on guidance for things. But as we get that guidance, as that guidance comes to us, you guys, like I said, I'm not tooting my own horn, totally am. But we're getting information, we're figuring out information before a lot of like the big people, the big companies are getting it out there. So this group is the best place for you to get updates. If you're also a part of Jamie Troll's Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners, that's also a great place to join. There are men in there now. It used to be it was created as like a safe place for women to talk about finance without feeling dumb and it was a great community. And now there's not a ton of guys, but there are guys in there. And that community is nice because she has over like 10,000 people in there now. And so there's a lot of specific resources over there because there's, she has like threads going on about unemployment, which states, are doing things, and then people are updating them. And it's just, there's more people, so there's more interaction and more community. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but so definitely a place to go look for and utilize her resources as well. You'll find that you'll get a lot of the information from us both. And we are kind of similar in how we deliver, but that's why we get along so well together, because that's why we get along. I was going to say one more thing. I keep thinking of one more thing that I want to tell you guys about, and then I start talking about something else. We'll come back to it. So those are the updates. If you guys have any questions, now's the time. Let me know what they are. Otherwise, we didn't need to stay the whole time. I allotted an hour. I just don't know how many updates are going to come through, throughout the week or even over, in a day, and how long it's going to take. So for those of you that are watching on replay, let me know you're watching it on replay. And if you have questions or need clarification, make sure you tag me so I do see it. And I am trying to come on here more often for you guys. My goal is 3 times a week. So next Monday, on our regular live time, so Monday at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Mountain Time. So noon Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. So then we're going to go back. We're going to go back to a routine of non-COVID stuff, just normal teachings that we were doing before. All right. And I think I start a series on new business and all the steps you should take if you're a new business to set up, which is going to be very useful even if you are not a new business. All right. So please join me. New business or not, you're going to learn something, because there are very few business owners, myself included, and I'll tell you as we go through this series where I'm guilty, that do not have all of their areas of their business set up perfectly. And so you are going to find tips and tricks in that series that are going to help you, even if you've been in business for 10, 20 years. All right, so check that out. That'll be Mondays at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And that, I think it's like a 6-part series. So the next 6 weeks are accounted for on Mondays. Fridays, I'm going to keep for updates and Q&As. So give me your questions. What I'll probably do is when I post the event is tag it, and then you can post all your questions there as they come. And then on Wednesdays, I'm gonna try and just do something that is going to be like COVID-19 more centered, but it might not necessarily all be on PPP loans and EIDLs, because although that will always be progressing, we'll always be learning more, it's going to die out, right? Like the usefulness of it. But what isn't going to die out is the pivot, okay? That this COVID-19 has caused us to do, okay? And we've talked about it a little bit, but some people are still coming at me telling me that they don't know how to pivot, that they can't pivot their business because this, that, and the other. So we're going to talk about that. Or we're going to talk about how we can pivot and how we have to pivot our business in order to get through this thing. All right, so Karen says, my credit union does not offer the PPP, so I applied through UPS Capital Cabbage, so we will see what happens. No, nothing like a number one Enneagram waiting to see if she did the paperwork. Is that a perfectionist? Is number one a perfectionist? Tell me if I'm right, Karen. I'm not a 1, I'm a 7. I see you are offering this fill it out for you offer now that I've already filled it out. Yeah, no, sorry, Karen. I totally should have offered to fill yours out. I probably could have done it a lot easier. That said, Karen, if your bank comes back at you and needs any further information, we can help you out. That's what I'm here for. All right. But tell me, Karen, tell me what a number 1 is on the Enneagram. I'm waiting for you to tell me. Are you a perfectionist? I think that's what a number 1 is. I just can't remember. So the rest of you, going back, so Monday is back to just regular trainings in this class or in this Facebook group. That's what we are, a group. Wednesdays, we're going to be giving you the tools and the tricks needed to get through this COVID-19 time, all right? Because it's not ending anytime soon, all right? Even if they lifted the ban, right, next week and we're like, okay, everyone back to work, we still have to navigate this new place we're in, all right? So that's what Wednesdays are going to be. And then Fridays, we're going to hit the Q&As and the updates. Every day, you'll still see posts from me on normal tax stuff. You'll probably see that, we're integrating back in some normalcy. And then I will I will post updates as they come in as well, you guys. So that's where we're at. And as always, I'm going to ask you guys, if you find this beneficial, if you have other small business owners that you are friends with that can benefit from this, please invite them. All right, this is a community where we're here to help each other, but if you guys have followed me for more than 5 minutes, you know that I am on a mission to ensure that every small business that is in this group now, or that I am touching, is still in business when this whole thing ends. All right, that is my mission, that is my goal, but I can only do that if people listen to me, and if people can only listen to me if they know I exist. So there you go. All right, you guys, I will see you tomorrow, virtual happy hour. That is on the calendar. I almost forgot. It's a highlight of my week. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain. So that is 1 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. Yep, I want to make sure I was right. So come join us for an hour or less. If you only have 15 minutes, come join us. If it's nice on your patio, grab a piece of patio, grab a drink, and come on over. Yes, I like the word reformer instead of perfectionist. I like that too. There's one word I associate with each of the, is it 9 Enneagrams? And that's the one I know as a 1, but that's also because I'm not a 1. I'm an enthusiast, so as a 7. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. Have a good one, and keep your questions coming. I'm here for you. Bye.